Hello, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about what you can leave behind right now, today, and prosper. Yes. Now, what else, right? What you can leave behind and prosper. So this is a video series about A Course in Miracles. And if you're just joining us, welcome, welcome. This video series has been going on for about 2.5 years, and we're going through the text of this course, which, if you have not looked at it, is long. And if you have looked at it, it's long with a lot to say. And what this all boils down to is a present moment choice that we all have. Every single sentence of this course contains the entirety of the thought system. And it is a thought system. It is a self-study curriculum with the goal of teaching us to see things as they are, to learn to perceive truly rather than the way we've made everything, which is the very same hot mess that has you interested in spirituality in the first place. So what can you leave behind right now, today, and prosper? The ego. Leave that behind and renounce the ego as your teacher, and immediately start to prosper. Now, by prosper, I don't necessarily mean that you are able to pay off all of your debt and go out and buy a big fancy car. It doesn't mean that your income is going to quadruple. It doesn't mean that you're going to magically lose the weight you wish to lose and attract a hot, sexy lover into your life. That doesn't mean any of those things necessarily. That may come. That's not the point. This is a course in miracles. This is not a course in growing materially rich, though that may end up happening. And if it does, great. The purpose of this course is to learn to perceive truly, because deep down you have done something that you may not have been consciously aware of at the time you did it. That was, you heard the call of your inner teacher, the call to awaken, and you answered it. That is a powerful, powerful thing. The call to awaken goes out to all of us all of the time, 24/7, all of the time. The question is, are we listening? That's all, isn't it? It's, are we listening to the call of our inner teacher right now? And then once we're listening, are we doing what our inner teacher suggests? Are we putting these teachings into practice? And when we do that, our experience shows us that these ideas are true, that this course speaks truly. These ideas are true and they work. Deep down, we all want the peace of God. Deep down, we all want that and nothing else. However, we here in the world have so obscured this and hidden this and tucked it away that we need conscious repetition of this. We need this course because we have been following the wrong teacher, the teacher that you can renounce right now. We all can. We can make the present moment choice to follow our inner teacher instead of the ego. There are many ways that you can characterize this in words. Here are a few of them. You could choose God instead of the ego. You could choose love instead of fear. You could choose life instead of death. You could choose light instead of dark, truth instead of illusion, self with a capital S instead of lowercase s, self, the ego, cut off individual self-sustaining survival unit, assuming way too much, presuming that it's in competition with other individual self-sustaining survival units over what it deems to be scarce, limited resources. Limit, limit, limit. There are no limits. Your mind is limitless. We are all limitless in truth, and the ego is not truth. It is a simple mistake that we can let go of. Set it gently aside. We're saying set it gently aside because we don't want to kick it in the face, despite all of the bumper stickers, despite all of the t-shirts and funky fresh merch that says kick fear in the face. We don't need to do that, and here's why. When you kick anything in the face, what is happening in your mind? You've made an opponent out of that thing, where there is no opponent. You have no opponent to kick in the face. Fear certainly arises on the path, but we don't need to kick it in the face. We simply appeal to our inner teacher for help. We practice the lessons, the ideas presented in this course. We shine the light of our inner teacher, the light of truth, on every situation, and fear just vanishes. It is like turning on a light in a dark room. What happens when you flick the switch on? There is no more darkness. It's gone. And you didn't have to club it or kick it in the face. You didn't have to draw blood and knock out some teeth and scatter them on the ground. There's no bar fight. You don't have to do that. You flick on the switch and the darkness is gone. It has vanished. And you know what? It is as though it were never there. It was not. It's not there now, but we're imagining that it is. So let's set that imagination aside. It has not served us, and it's not serving us right now. We have a choice in the present moment between two teachers, two thought systems, one, the Holy Spirit, two, the ego. The goal of any learning curriculum is know thyself. We have a choice between the teaching of our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, the universal inspiration, the answer, mediator, comforter, whatever other words you may choose. You may call the Holy Spirit your guide or guides. You may call the Holy Spirit by multiple names. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's not a human being, after all. You can call him if you want to. That's what this course does. No problem. We have the choice between our inner teacher or the ego. Of these teachers, one is real, the other is not. We have a choice as to which we will follow. So when the Holy Spirit teaches us to know ourselves, it looks very differently than when we follow the ego. The ego wants us to look only at ourselves, and it limits things even further to this little unit right here, in the physical body, which it teaches you is a you. No, not even. And you know that, or you would not be here. We know that there's more to it than just this 80% sack of water that frankly craps out after a few decades, and we don't know how long it's going to continue to be operational. It's not you. A perishable physical body is not the Son of God. The thought of God is not a body. You are not a body. If you're encountering this idea explicitly for the first time, welcome. You are not a body. Deep down, you know this. Now, you are free to resist. You're free to turn this video off. You're free to say whatever you want to say and run and hide, but you know this to be true. You know it's true. There's a lot of power, of present moment, right now, power in accepting this is true. So you're invited to do just that. Tremendous power indeed. And perhaps you've tapped into this already. I invite you to do so today. When we follow the Holy Spirit teaches us differently than the ego. The ego doesn't know where to look. So when the ego teaches us who it thinks we are, it limits it to the physical body. And then it further limits it and classifies and subdivides. It limits us based on the country that we live in, which when you really think about it, that's an idea. It's made up. Nation states, they're made up. They are artificial boundaries drawn on this thing called a map by white dudes with wigs long ago. I mean, really, when you think about it, what is that but a collection of lines, and it's a defining and then defending personal territory. Doesn't matter where in the world you live. A nation state is completely artificial and made up. It's a fabrication. Guess what else is a fabrication? When we follow the guidance of the ego, we assume that all of this is real. The Holy Spirit invites us to think about this and choose differently. None of this is, in fact, who we are. It's not real, and it is a dream. Let the Holy Spirit show you who you are, and let the Holy Spirit guide you on the path to learning this, because here in the world, we need a process, because most of us are not ready to wholeheartedly accept these ideas as true. So we need proof. Prove it. Right? We need convincing. So we're encouraged and invited to put these ideas into practice, so we prove the truth of these ideas to ourselves. That's how we learn, and that keeps our faith and power in the power of our own mind. The Holy Spirit's not just going to magically flip a switch and enlighten you without your having to choose it instead of the ego, right? We've got to take a look at everything that comes up and forgive it and let it go, release it to our inner teacher. In other words, you've got to do the work. You have help, very powerful help. You may be thinking that the Holy Spirit is inaccessible to you. It is not inaccessible to you. You could choose to listen to it right now. That is because the Holy Spirit is part of our mind. It is not outside of us. It is not some dude with a beard sitting there in heaven, eating bar snacks and sipping a nice martini, looking down at us and passing judgment. Not even. The Holy Spirit is part of your mind. It is the part of your mind that speaks truly, that will show you who and what you are and where you are. It will show you if you allow it to. Allow. Powerful, powerful. The most powerful thing you can do, witness the video from a couple of days ago, is allow truth to be just as it is. The most powerful thing that you could do does not look like running out and conquering the world economically or physically or anything like that. It's allowing truth to be just as it is. It's dropping your defenses, all of them. Guess what? Your defenselessness is your strength. Ego doesn't teach you that. Holy Spirit does. Your defenselessness is your strength. The Holy Spirit teaches us that if we look only at ourselves, we cannot and will not find ourselves. If you look only at yourself, you cannot find yourself. You want to know why? That's not who you are. When we look at ourselves and only ourselves, we cannot find ourselves because that's not who we are. Who are we? Well, we're everyone. There is only perfect oneness. Your brother is you. Every living thing is you. You are one. We are all one. Literally. The ego would teach us otherwise, but this is not a series of videos. This is not a course on how to stay stuck in suffering and running around on the wheel. One lifetime after another, one dream lifetime after another, apparently, click, click, click in samsara. If you're a Buddhist or if you've studied Buddhism, samsara is simply the cyclic existence, the rehashing of all of our drama because we've refused to set it aside. But you have the power and the free will to set it aside right now. And you know what? Let your inner teacher help you. Your inner teacher wants to help you. That is its function, to help you. So appeal to the Holy Spirit for help. Call the Holy Spirit whatever you want to. Appeal to it for help. Ask for help. Teach me about forgiveness. Teach me to forgive truly. Show me. Help me allow truth to be just as it is. Some sample prayers. You ask your inner teacher, who is part of your mind. The request is made, the answer, the response is given immediately. Immediately. The Holy Spirit rushes in instantly. It's done. You have only to then accept the Holy Spirit's guidance. Any question that you ask it, the answer is instantly given. You have only to accept the answer. And here in the world, to put it into practice, because as we share the Holy Spirit with our brother, as we forgive, as we extend love to our brother, we extend love to ourselves and we learn the truth of who we are. We're not looking for salvation in just ourselves. When we're looking within, we're looking at every single one of us, because you want to know what? Your brother's not outside you. Your brother is you. Everything that we hear, see, everything is in our mind. So you are looking within. It's within your mind. This world is not outside of you. It is simply an idea. If you're finding these ideas mind-bending and mind-blowing, yeah, no problem. The reality is, for almost all of us, that we weren't conditioned to think this. We weren't conditioned to accept that there is no world. Just hear that one for the first time? Welcome. Yeah. We weren't conditioned to believe that. So when we're presented with the pure non-duality of A Course in Miracles, these ideas can seem extraordinarily far-fetched, even wrong or deeply threatening. And that is, in fact, perfectly normal. So my suggestion is, if you're afraid of these ideas, that's all right. Revisit them from time to time. My suggestion is that you appeal to your inner teacher for help. Remember, he'll rush in at the slightest invitation. This course tells us that in several different places and in many different ways, and it's true. It's true. The Holy Spirit will rush in and respond to your slightest invitation. So when you have a moment and you feel like you have the presence of mind to ask your inner teacher for help, do so. These ideas are not how we were conditioned in the world. Yet there is a part of you that yearns to accept these ideas as true. You can deny this all you want. We all can. I mean, really, we don't have to practice this course or any form of spirituality in this lifetime. We don't have to. There are plenty of people who don't. We know them. We have friends and family members that think we're completely nuts, don't we? I think we're wasting our time on things like A Course in Miracles. We all know people like that. Yeah, we simply forgive them in our mind. We don't have to say anything to them out loud and move on, because you've answered the call. You're here. You're interested in this material, which shows me that you've answered the call. So our invitation that goes out to all of us is to continue to do so. That is what the world needs, isn't it? Is for you to answer the call, for you to put your limitations aside, all of the limits that you've imposed on yourself, and there are many. How do I know? Because I've imposed the same ones on myself, starting with this. We all have. So we're setting them aside. And that is the invitation to all of us to set them aside, to choose the Holy Spirit as our teacher. Let the ego go. It has brought you nothing but pain. The moments of joy are fleeting and they don't last, but the peace of God is eternal. It's who and what you are. And deep down, we all know that. That's why spiritual practice is often talked about as a walk or a journey or a path. Finding our way home, it's a very common and popular way to look at it. And that's what enlightenment is, or awakening is, letting the ego go completely, once and for all, and waking up. We're right at home where we have always been. A very well-known idea from A Course in Miracles is, ideas leave not their source. Thoughts, in other words, remain in the mind of the thinker, and you are the thought of God. Where are you? There is only perfect oneness. What are you? Who are you? You know. We all deep down know. So the ego is a series of fabrications. It's a mistake. You could look at it as a veil that we've thrown over our eyes, and we're removing the veil. We're removing the obstacles that we ourselves have imposed. We have put up a wall or a veil so that we can't see truth. We're simply removing these barriers. We're removing the barriers to our awareness of truth, our awareness of love's presence, as this course puts it, our awareness of who we are. And I know that you know who that is. So I invite you to consider these ideas. I mean, you've watched to this point in the video, and it's almost over. So I know that you have. And that is something that every single living thing appreciates, not just me, everyone. It's what the world needs, is people to answer the call and to connect with our inner teacher and listen and do as we're invited to do as we're instructed to do. So as you do that, I thank you very much for doing that. Questions are more than welcome here. They may come up on the path. So if you've got them, I invite them. Feel welcome to leave comments or questions, even if it's just dropping in to say hello. What we've got here is a growing international community, and I very much want to thank all of you who have recently subscribed. There have been a number of you actually in the past 48 hours. So wherever you're from in the world, thank you for joining us. It's an international community, quite literally, and it's growing all of the time. If you would like to subscribe and you haven't yet, I invite you to do so. The subscription button's right here in the corner of your screen. That is the red arrow down there. Go ahead and click on that and join us here. We offer several videos a week for the sake of consistency and practice. And again, the fact, like we mentioned earlier, that we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, which is several hundred pages long in itself. There are 31 chapters, in fact, and we're currently on chapter 8. This discussion, which is about 25 to 30 minutes long at this point, is from one single paragraph of the text. The entire course is loaded with meaning. So I invite you to explore to your heart's content, and put these ideas into practice, because that's how we really learn. All right. Thank you very much.